Hello and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Reacts. Today we're checking out a new vid from Popcross Studios of turning HELLUVA boss characters, apologies, into not just one set of characters, but dragons, SCPs, and robots. That's right, he's kind of doing a triple threat now. Well, let's hop in and see just which demon is turned into a new kind of demon.
HELLUVA Boss Season 2 has started, and that's given me the little extra kick that I needed to finally make another HELLUVA Boss focused episode. See, in my opinion, one of the best episodes I've ever made on this channel was when I turned HELLUVA Boss into a horror story.
Oh, I
and
remember
since then,
that.
I've been meaning to do another HELLUVA Boss focused
really
episode,
one.
but I just couldn't really land on an idea that I liked. Lots of people gave great suggestions, turning them into dragons or armor. Lots of different things that I already do regularly on the channel. And eventually, I just decided, why not do a bunch of those things in one episode?
And here we go.
Hit like
Triple threat.
if you want. Subscribe if you feel like. But either way, enjoy the show. Going further through the bestiary that I recently acquired, I've found that there was once a grim and horrifying circus that traversed these lands, utilizing vibrant yet very dangerous dragons and creatures in an attempt to entertain its audience. The ringleader was a gold-hungry man who cared little for the safety of his patrons and would even employ people to stalk through the audience, stealing from the circus's onlookers. It also appears that it was a somewhat common occurrence for an audience member to be wounded or even killed by creatures in the show.
Oh, that's not
One of the creatures most prominently displayed in this menacing revelry was a dragon referred to as the flailing Fizzeral Wyvern. It had a hide that resembled circus clowns, though it's unclear whether it was painted this way by the ringleader or if it truly was naturally a fluorescent nightmare beast. Surprisingly, it is not wholly uncommon for a dragon to resemble a court jester or a clown, as mentions of this very dragon quickly sparked memories in myself of the fanged jester, as well as a certain species often found hunting bat-winged night wyverns. But, not having been around in the time of this circus myself, I can't confirm what came naturally for this creature and what was embellished for the show. The beast also toted a wide, eerie grin and spat vibrant green flames. Its most uncommon ability, however, was that its tail and neck could stretch to incredible lengths. To entertain the audience, it had even been trained to tie its own neck into a knot while bellowing a twisted laugh-like cry. It seems this creature eventually became the biggest draw to the circus, as all the promotion done by the ringleader involved him bragging about and showing off paintings made of the bizarre wyvern to try and allure more viewers to the show. In its later years, many audience members reported this creature developing an unusual twitch. Its body would jolt and its limbs would flail out at random points. It even began having sparks of green flame spurred out from various parts across its body.
Cybernetics.
Eventually, it even came to odds with another of the dragons that had been part of the show for many years, and the two nearly killed each other, ending in the Fizzeral's rival fleeing the circus and never returning. Later logs in this book report that the creature that fled made its own strange pack of dragons for some time, but was eventually hunted and slain. Now, this was some decades ago, and presumably this circus and its ringleader have long since passed into memory, but I may ask around in the territories this circus was said to travel to ensure that this particular show is no longer running.
Yeah, I doubt that show is not running. I doubt that show is not running. Does that make sense?
Many would think that as someone who crafts powerful and beautiful suits of armor for living, that I am commonly working for knights and warriors and those who hunt and slay the
Verosika, that's her name, I just remembered. Looks like we're gonna get some Verosika Mayday armor. We got a Fizzeral dragon, now some Verosika armor. Nice.
most powerful beasts of this world. And this is true. But you may also be surprised by how often I am commissioned to craft armors for those simply looking to use them for ceremonial purposes, or even, occasionally, for entertainers. I once was asked to construct
I think I
armor for
understand what
a
that meant.
well-known bard, who had played music for large masses of common folk as well as for royal courts. I have heard her sing, and I must say, I very much understand the appeal, though
This
her
makes sense to make
music may
Alma
be little
Verostica,
too seductive for some. Her songs tend to focus on very adult topics, shall we say.
Keep
Now,
the kids
the
away.
armor she wanted was for a show she was putting on, in which she wanted to appear in vibrant pink, somewhat devil-like suit. Conveniently, I had just received perfect dragon hide to use for this.
Ah, here
You
we
see,
go.
my great uncle, as well as being armor crafter like myself, was also a dragon slayer. Some decades ago, long before his recent passing, he'd
Dragon
been given
hunter
task to
and
hunt
armor
down
maker.
devil-like dragon that had fled from a very humorous circus that I loved when I was a young child. There was one dragon that could stretch its neck and tie itself in bow. It was quite enjoyable from
look
what
at
I
that.
recall.
The Fizzeral.
Anyhow, a dragon had escaped that circus, and he eventually hunted it down, intending to
Blitz.
use its hide to craft armors from. He recently died after being bet he could not slay a crimson-crested hydra with a spoon.
Oh, man.
May sound silly, but I am actually quite surprised he was killed by the creature. He is very resourceful.
Okay, now that's actually an interesting twist on what you're doing there, Chris. You got the armor made from the demon form of Verosca, yet you got the human model after her human disguise. Very clever done. I give you props for that, man.
Fighter. Or, you know, he was. Anyhow, our remaining family split his belongings, and I was sent a crate, which included remnants from the devil-like dragon he'd slain after it had escaped the circus. It was redder looking than this bard woman wanted for her armor, but I knew I could make work with little effort. I made armor resemble elements of attire she often wore on stage, and while she did not request any weapon be made for suit, I could not resist once I started my work. I crafted her a sword staff that she very much appreciated. Or, I believe she did anyhow. Admittedly, it was difficult to determine her genuine feelings about the armor and weapon, as when she came to pick up final piece, she was quite intoxicated. Still, though, I have heard show in which she wore the armor was great success, and afterwards, few more clients who had seen show came my way looking for something similar, desiring to dress like the bard woman. So, this ended up being very profitable project.
What would this be called? The Mayday suit? Huh, that actually isn't too bad of a name. The Mayday suit. Take that name, Curtis. Use it.
Quick interruption here to say that I have finally made a new ink bundle. Popcross Bundle of Inks Volume 5. Once again, I've made it bigger and better than all the previous ones.
Wow.
It's got tons of my best art from my best episodes of the last few months. You can download the bundle and color it digitally, or print off some of the inks and color them traditionally. I'll put a link in the description, and they should show up in the little bar beneath this video, and maybe go poking around my Teespring store.
Well, and to go ahead with this, his link to this video will be in my description, which you can then use as a link to go to his original video, and click on the link to go to his store to buy the equipment. And is that a Black War Greymon? On the, wow, that's a Black War Greymon dragon. Huh, am I just now seeing that?
Store to see if there's anything else you like. I got shirts like this one up there, I've got tons of different posters, but for now, let's get back into more drawings, shall we?
Next up is the big bird dragon, a demon himself. Why was I about to say dragon? I got dragons on the brain. In Stolas!
Good evening to you all, the O5 Council and Security Level 5 personnel. This meeting is to discuss a recent event involving an entity that we have not yet given an SCP number to yet, but is certainly something we have every intention of eventually securing and containing. Though our first encounters lead us to believe this entity will certainly qualify as being classified as Keter. We found this creature while investigating an urgent distress call from a group of, to be perfectly frank, incompetent so-called demon hunters. Their organization is called the DHORKS, and they had allegedly captured creatures from hell, then promptly been raided by another set of anomalous entities. Upon the arrival of an SCP Samsara unit, the organization's base had indeed come under heavy assault, and near all on site were gravely wounded or brutally dismembered. All floors were searched, and on the
That is Season 1, Episode 5, Truth Seekers, I believe.
top level was finally found the being that is the topic of today's meeting. It was a 13-foot tall, 4-eyed humanoid owl with a flowing, shifting red cape, wearing on its head a top hat with a crown attached to its front. We cannot yet confirm that this is its normal state, as the entity proved able to transform parts of its body or even shift entirely into a massive black owl demon.
Just like his
We are
dad.
now aware that the being could have easily fled the Samsara unit we sent, but it was curious about the personnel and allowed itself to be temporarily taken in to SCP custody.
Oh.
The being was questioned, and it alleged that it was called Stolas, which immediately led our researchers to the demonology grimoire, The Lesser Key of Solomon. In said book is a group of 72 demons referred to as the Ars Goetia. These are said to be demons of extreme power or revere in hell, and based on our interactions with this entity, we are inclined to believe this Stolas was the one indeed referred to in the Ars Goetia.
Yep.
In conversation with our personnel, the entity seemed to be toying with us, so it is difficult to ascertain what truly was useful, accurate information. This entity claimed it had its own ways of traveling from hell to our world, but that other beings from its realm could only do so using a book that he alone possessed. For the time being, we are taking this entity at its word on the subject, but little else was gotten from the conversation.
Stolas may be able to transport between Earth and Hell like that, but it's because of his grim wall that he is more capable of doing it faster, I believe. Since all he has to do is just open it, tap, portal. He doesn't have to do like the whole blood ritual thing like what we saw in the episode.
As it soon claimed to be bored of us and simply vanished in a cloud of black slime and feathers. We now have personnel scouring through other works that refer to the entity called Stolas and other demons of the Ars Goetia, as well as some going through footage taken from the cameras in the DHORKS incident. It seems the entities that conducted the raid arrived prior to Stolas, and that he may have shown up to rescue them. These first entities heavily resemble those described from a previous SCP case.
It actually is honest, because Stolas like, how the fuck did you get yourself caught by humans?
Case investigation. Entities that once attacked and attempted to kill a recent hire of the SCP Foundation, a young woman named Viv, who was going to be given amnestics after a demonic assault she'd been subjected to, before it was determined that she had potential to become an SCP Foundation employee. She has not yet been made aware of the return of these entities, as she is currently only at security clearance level 1. But I personally am recommending we give her clearance to be part of this investigation into the entity called Stolas, as she may have valuable insights, having encountered some of these entities firsthand.
May not be such a good idea.
I will, of course, defer to the Council's decision on this matter. Thank you. That is my time for today.
Well, I say it could not be a good idea, but it may end up being a good idea. Huh. SCP something something 2.
You know, something a lot of folks don't know about good old Benny Shabby is that I don't just make mech armors, you know? I mean, sure, I make a lot of those, but I also make other stuff too. I can crochet, paint stuff, I made a pottery or two in my day, but
you can crochet,
I also
Benny?
occasionally make robots. I mean, sure, they is pretty similar to mech armors, but nobody is wearing them or directly controlling them or nothing. Just pump them full of some good old artificial intelligence, and boom, you just gonna have a little mechanical buddy or serving or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What I'm known for in the admittedly shady circles that know about my work, but occasionally I got some folks coming in looking for a little bot for them. I once had this guy who ran a circus coming to me asking to make him a couple of acrobatic robots to do the trapeze for him. I asked him why he didn't just hire some actual gymnast to do that, seeing as how acrobatic robot wasn't gonna come cheap. He said he had hired
really
folks,
wouldn't be
a few
cheap.
times actually, but he wasn't big on checking the safety of his trapeze rig, so there had been an accident or two. Or 7. And now he had a bad rep in the gymnast circles
17.
and nobody would come to work for him no more. Hence, needing a
that
robot
makes
that
sense.
if it fell or something, could just get fixed up and put back into it pretty quick, without no pesky lawsuits or nothing. Dude seemed pretty shady to be honest, even by my standards, but I wasn't one to judge at the time.
Well,
Safety
at least
was
it's
never
thinking
really
good,
near the
not
top of my priority list neither.
hiring more
Anyway, this
people.
guy's circus had a sort of satanic vibe to it. He was really targeting the Tim Burton, My Chemical Romance sort of crowds. So I made him this devil imp sort of looking thing that was a bit smaller than a normal human, and a lot more nimble and springy. It had big ol' hands for extra good grip, and even a tail that could grip on the stuff for some extra trapeze fun.
Good
Made
thinking.
2 of these things, but with a bit of variety in there, so not making them the exact same, One of them had super stretchy limbs, and was kind of a fun design too, but I was more particular to the design I made for this other one. I programmed the things to take the guy's orders and stuff, and at first it was all good. I got paid, the circus guy was happy, and that was that. Until the goon came back to me saying that one of his robots had run off. Guy almost convinced me to give him his money back, until I got out of him that he'd tried messing with the thing's programming himself.
And
I asked him if he had any qualifications to mess around with a robot of this thing's complexity, and he said he watched a YouTube video on AI and thought he'd be good to go from there. Not that you can't learn nothing good on YouTube these days, but I think he might have been underestimating how complicated the stuff I make is. Anyway, didn't give this guy nothing back, just told him how he could track the thing. I don't think he actually ever caught up to it though. Seen a few reports in the past of folks being killed by a small mechanical devil-looking assassin, so I got a few guesses about what that little robot is up to now.
Ooh, I'd like to see a Moxie and Millie bot. Oh look, Blitzbot! Oh.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed doing a variety episode like this. Getting to draw a whole bunch of different kinds of characters meant I felt fresh going into each one. So if you like this idea of doing more variety episodes, let me know in the comments and give me some suggestions for what groups of characters or even individual characters you'd like to see me use for an episode like this. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to see more Hello Boss stuff or other Bitsy Pop things like a Has Been Hotel episode, I highly recommend checking out my Hell of a Boss horror story episode or my Has Been Hotel horror story episode. But besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is a quote from Jim Quick. And it's an idea I've iterated in different ways, different times in this end portion of the video, but it's just a thought that I really like, which is that the only worthwhile comparison is you yesterday versus you today.
Ooh,
if you want to be happy, you have to focus on that. I really like that concept, and I really like emphasizing it lots of times.
Well, I have to say, that was actually a really nice quote. Hold on.
So I hope it's inspiring to someone out there. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I love you all, and maybe I'll see some of you at Fan Expo in Toronto this weekend. I'll be walking around and giving a talk on how artists can build an audience. Date and time
and I think that's it. The rest of this just would be the signature outro and explanation on this. So, that's where we're going to end off today's episode. I want you all to remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Down in the description will be a link to the original videos, so remember to support the original creator and all they do, and I'll see all of you folks next time. Until then, peace out.